Welcome back. You're watching World News and I'm your host, Klaudia Czerwińska. Kyiv was once again the target of overnight Russian drone strikes. This time, the city's public transport system bore the brunt of the damage. Officials say debris from downed drones struck several areas of the capital, damaging the trolleybus network in the city center. The attacks also disrupted card payments and ticket validation across Kyiv's tram and funicular systems after the city's transport telecom provider was briefly knocked off online. Mayor Vitaly Klitschko confirmed that one drone exploded in the Solomiansky district, though no injuries were reported. Authorities say Russia has shifted tactics, moving away from massive barrages of hundreds of drones to smaller waves of 15 to 20 at a time, targeting both the capital and surrounding areas. In an interview with Fox News, U.S. President Donald Trump said that Russian drones shouldn't be flying close to Polish territory, reiterating his disappointment with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Trump also criticized European members of NATO for their continued purchase of Russian oil, saying such a move would help end the war in Ukraine.
So I'm disappointed. If you listen to some people, the ones like in Poland were shot down and they fell into Polish territory, but they shouldn't have been that close anyway. They were drones. And
do you think it was a mistake? The Polish Prime Minister said it was not a mistake, that they were intentionally into Polish territory.
I can't comment on whether it was a mistake or not. They shouldn't have been there, let's face it. But supposedly they were disabled. When the European Union nations or the NATO nations, because they're similar, very similar, when they're buying oil from Russia, that's not the greatest thing. That's not the deal. And I let it be known, and people were surprised to hear that, but they were doing it quietly and slyly. And you can't do that. If you're going to win, you're going to have to not buy oil from Russia.
The High Court in Novi Sad in Serbia has rejected the prosecutor's request to order pretrial detention for 13 suspects over the railway station canopy collapse on November 1st, 2023, which killed 16 people and injured one. The court's decision places Goran Vesić, the former Serbian Construction Minister, under house arrest and extends the measure for the remaining 12 by 3 more months. The court placed Vesić under the house arrest with electronic monitoring, banning him from using phones and the internet, and from receiving individuals in his apartment for 3 more months. The suspects have been charged for allowing use of the Novi Sad rail station despite ongoing construction and no permit, as well as neglect and irregularities in design and renovation. Separately, Vesić, former Minister Tomislav Morirović, and others are under investigation for suspected corruption in the Serbian-Hungarian railway project, allegedly causing $150 million in budget losses. Since the tragedy, student-led protests have blocked at the university buildings and are calling for full transparency and the release of documents related to the station's reconstruction. Protesters took to the streets of France to oppose budget cuts set out by the outgoing government of François Bayrou. As part of the nationwide protests, various groups called for a wealth tax and increased spending on public services.
French unions called for a day of nationwide protests to oppose the budget principles set out by the outgoing Prime Minister. Teachers, train drivers and hospital staff alike urged President Emmanuel Macron and Le Cornu to scrap Bayrou's budget cuts. Demands included a higher tax for the rich, more spending on public services, and reversing a change that requires people to work longer to receive a pension. Bayrou was ousted last week for a €44 billion budget squeeze plan.
Trust in the Catholic Church is falling among Poles, as indicated by a new survey conducted for the Polish press agency. TVP World spoke to a University of Warsaw lecturer to find the possible reasons behind this decline.
There are few factors contributing to the crisis. First is disruption in ritual continuity after the pandemic. And the second is polarization and its political alignment, because churches align with one side. And the third could be the media discussion about pedophilia and the lack of clear action to address the crisis. And the last but not least is the general decline in trust in institutions. The younger generation is engaged in community in a different way than the elders. They are more mobile and participate more in online life than in parish life. These individual values, combined with greater financial opportunities and belief in their own abilities, mean that the church is not needed as support. And I dare say that spiritual life was never very deep in Poland. This is evident in how unchristian we treat migrants, how political polarization doesn't help with Christian love. The church is also no longer an important voice, allowing young people to live together as couples. Yes, so norms have changed. Norms have changed significantly here in Poland, and there is another reason of the decline of trust in the church. The treatment of religion is very ceremonial, almost a bureaucratic obligation.
North Korean leader Kim Jong-un supervised tests of new tactical attack drones on Thursday, calling their development a top priority. Kim oversaw the performance test of North Korea's Kumsong tactical unmanned attack aircraft and an unmanned strategic reconnaissance aircraft during his visit to the unmanned aerial technology complex. The North Korean leader was satisfied with the results, according to the state-run Korean Central News Agency. While overseeing the tests, Kim noted the realistic range of drones is expanding in modern warfare and ordered the strengthening of their capabilities through artificial intelligence. Albania's parliament erupted in chaos on Thursday over a speech by Prime Minister Edi Rama's new AI minister, an avatar known as Diela. The goal of Thursday's session was to approve the government program and the new Council of Ministers.
This is Diela, an avatar resembling a woman wearing traditional Albanian dress, who's Albania's newest cabinet member. The digital assistant will be used to fight corruption, nepotism, and conflicts of interest in public procurement processes, said Edi Rama when presenting the avatar to members of parliament. The opposition claimed that Diela was used as a distraction from the issue of poor administration by Rama's government. Angry opposition MPs were seen throwing papers and documents towards the speaker's stand. The parliament session presenting a new cabinet is traditionally a lengthy one, with discussions about the new government and each MP making a 10-minute speech. But Thursday's session only lasted for 25 minutes, amid uproar over Rama's presentation of Diela. The parliament ultimately approved the government program and the new Council of Ministers, with 82 votes in favor.
Political drama in Warsaw over a booze ban proposal in Poland's capital. The city's council has signed off on a limited pilot ban of nighttime alcohol sales, which will roll out over the coming year. But the months-long debate ended in a walkout, with the deputy mayor quitting on the spot. Randy Potts has more.
In a dramatic end to a months-long debate, the deputy mayor of Warsaw, Jacek Wiśnicki, resigned on Thursday after the city council voted against a citywide ban of nighttime alcohol sales.
I informed the president that I could no longer be the face of the city's social policy and resigned from that position.
Politicians on the left supported the ban, while the right opposed.
Law and Justice took the position that we must listen to the residents who have their representation in the district councils, and we proposed that it should be the district councils that express their opinions.
Late on Thursday, the Warsaw City Council voted to split the baby. Instead of a citywide ban, a 12-month pilot program.
The restrictions of nighttime alcohol sales would initially apply to two key districts, Śródmieście and Praga Północ, step by step forward.
The ban won't apply to bars, restaurants, pubs, or other catering establishments.
I don't think it would make a difference, because anyone who wants to drink, they will find it anyways, and I don't think it will make a difference. Like, you cannot ban people from drinking alcohol.
What I think about it, actually, I live here nearby, so actually I think has no sense, actually. It's nonsense because you can buy alcohol before.
So far, nighttime prohibition has been introduced in about 180 municipalities, including Krakow, where some forms of alcohol-related police intervention have dropped by nearly 50%.
This is about safety on the streets. It's about putting an end to the pathological situation that unfortunately we are dealing with in many parts of Warsaw.
One man who sells alcohol in Warsaw strongly supported the ban.
Krakow, Poznań, Gdańsk, 23 p.m. stopped. But not in Warsaw. In Warsaw is do what you want. And this is a lot of problems.
For TVP World, Randy Potts.
The Polish National Opera stands as one of the country's most prestigious artistic institutions, and under the new leadership, it's now preparing for the season's first major premiere. Karolina Szapland explains.
Picture this, a capital city reduced to rubble after World War II. And a group of architects, city planners, painters, engineers, all wanting to rebuild this city in a different way, a city that will be far removed from its pre-World War II chaos. Well, that's the premise of a new opera commissioned specially by the National Theatre to start its new season.
I am very thankful and privileged actually to be able to open my first season with this title, The Best City in the World, the opera about Warsaw.
First and foremost, we didn't want to make a documentary. It's somehow a fantasy. The librettist who wrote the piece connected two characters which never met actually. One is an architect, female architect, Helena Syrkus, and the second one is a journalist, Anna Louise Strong. And through these two women, he shows very complicated world.
This is always very exciting to sing first time something completely unknown and to create a role which was never created. There is no canon I have to follow, no rules. I just have to find my own way to create a character.
I wanted to show some qualities which be represented by Anna Louise Strong. She was an American journalist linked with the Soviets. She wanted to see something more, something outside of her country.
Time will tell whether Warsaw, the best city in the world opera, will join the beloved classics of the repertoire of the National Theatre. But one cannot deny the ambition of this opera and of its creators. For TVP World, I'm Karolina Szapland.
And with that, we end our news broadcast. Thank you very much for joining me. I'm Klaudia Czerwińska, and I hope to see you back here on TVP World for more news and features.